Hello, welcome to the message of the day. My name is Elmo Acton. I am associate pastor at the Glenview New Church, right outside of Chicago. Today, I'd like to take a break from my normal discussions over the book Heaven and Hell I've been having with you and talk about something that is on the hearts and minds of many right now. And that is the injustice that is going on in our world today. Unneeded murders, murdering of innocent or helpless people, and rioting in our cities and many other places, people looting, and those are the injustices going on right now. And I would like to remind us all that it's a time for us to center ourselves on what is God-like. What is justice? What does it look like? And what can we do to make this world a better place? This world is filled with lots of opinions and ideas and lots of people who want our attention and to get into our heads and have us think all kinds of confused or evil things. And it's our job to really get rid of all that garbage and look to what we can do. So instead of me talking further, I would like to share with you a prayer and then a reading from True Christianity, from the teachings of the New Church. Please bow your heads. Lord, thank you for getting us here together today to dwell on your earth and all of its glory. Let us not be distracted by the evil. Let us not be dragged down by it and brought into a place where the world seems like chaos. By us acting on your behalf, we spread love of the neighbor. Let us find ways to show all of our neighbors that we love and care for them. Amen. Now I'm going to read to you number 71 from True Christianity, or parts of it, where to set this up, Swedenborg, whose spiritual eyes are open and he's in the other world at this point looking at things, feels these like waves underneath him and all this commotion and calamity. And he can tell there's a riot going on in the other world, in the spiritual world. It's like the highest level of hell, or like a lower earth. So this is a place in the spiritual world where people are probably much like they are here on earth, having some goodness and some evil. But this riot is definitely a place where the evil has taken over. And there is a leader type fellow in amongst this riot who kind of gurgles out of this lower earth, upper hell kind of place. And he has the ability to change his appearance too. And he comes up to Swedenborg and asks him, "Are you the one I hear that understands the Lord's divine nature and understands how the Lord is, how his order is in all the earth and in heaven? Please tell me about it." And Swedenborg does answer him. And he says, "I can give you a summary on the way the Lord is all about the divine design." And here is what he gives as 7 points of the divine design. This is how the Lord intends things for us and how the whole design of this earth and heaven are designed. 1, God is the divine design itself. That means the Lord is order in himself, and he is all things. 2, he created humankind on the basis of his design and in keeping with it, and built that design into us. That means we are designed after God himself. We have those same components. 3, he created our rational minds in imitation of the divine design in the whole spiritual world, and our bodies in imitation of the divine design in the whole physical world. This is why the ancients called a person both a heaven in miniature and a world in miniature. So the Lord created the heavens after himself, and the heavens and the earth is created after his heavens. So if you think of the Lord as the whole, we are all, whether we are angels or human beings, we are all a whole in miniature. So in our own body and soul, we are like a mini heaven. 4, as a result, it is a law of the divine design that we are to rule our microcosm or physical world in miniature from our micro heaven or spiritual world in miniature, just as God rules everything about the macrocosm or physical world from his macro heaven or spiritual world. So that's telling us that it's our job to rule this micro world, which is us, a person or an angel. It's our job to rule that with the ideas of the Lord, how the Lord would rule it. The Lord gave us these abilities. It's our job to treat our body as a temple, so to speak, or to treat our body like the Lord would. 5, a law of the divine design following from this is that we are to bring ourselves into a state of faith by means of truths from the word, and bring ourselves into a state of goodwill by means of good actions. And this is how we reform and regenerate ourselves. This is how we make positive change in this world, is by going to the word and wanting goodwill for others and acting on it. 6, it is a law of the divine design that we are to use our own power and do our own work to purify ourselves from sins. We do not stand in impotent faith and wait for God miraculously to wipe them away. This is saying we must act on what we know that is true and good. 7, it is also a law of the divine design that we are to love God with all our soul and with all our heart, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. We are not to hang around and wait for God miraculously to put each love into our minds and hearts, like putting bread from the baker in our mouths. We are not to wait around and just think the Lord will do everything for us. We must act on it. To this, the Satan replied in a soothing voice that had pride behind it, "What are you saying? That on the basis of our own power, we need to bring ourselves into the divine design by practicing its rules? Don't you know that we are not under the law, but under grace? All things are given for free. We cannot take anything for ourselves unless it is given to us from heaven. In the spiritual arena, we have no more ability to act on our own than Lot's wife, the statue, or Dagon, the god of the Philistines. It is impossible for us to grant ourselves justification. Justification can be achieved only through faith and goodwill." To the things he said, I made this reply. Swedenborg made this reply. It is also a law of the divine design that by our own work and power, we are to gain faith for ourselves by means of truth from the word, yet we are to believe that our faith comes from God and not a grain of it from ourselves. Likewise, by our own work and power, we are to become justified. Yet we are to believe that our justifications come from God and not even a jot of it from ourselves. At this, the Satan's face changed. It went from a white to a sickly yellow, and then soon it turned completely devoid of color. And he said, "You're speaking paradoxes against our paradoxes." And then after that, he says that, and of course, someone who can't make sense of something that makes sense thinks it's completely gobbledygook, or maybe he's just not wanting to hear what Swedenborg has to say. And then after that, he's sucked back down into where the riot was. But the riot stops after that. And all these things that had burst out from where that riot was, locusts and weird screeching birds of the night, get sucked back down in there. And it says, the air and the land were cleansed of those wild things, and the riot below came to a stop. All became calm and serene. So I'm not going to state many opinions here about what's happening in our world today, other than reminding us that it is our duty, like knowing that we are miniature heavens and built from the way the Lord has built himself, that it's our duty to fight injustice, to stand up for things that we see that are wrong, and also to love our neighbor. Those things are paramount. Without them, our world can fall into chaos. So if you see someone that you know being treated poorly by whoever it is, please use your voice and stand up against injustice. Think what the Lord would do in that situation, and follow the word and what the word asks us to do. Also, remember that the one way we heal this world is by integrating ourselves with our neighbors. It's easy to try to love your neighbor from a distance, but maybe we should look at this and see how many more ways we can love our neighbor closely. If our United States was more integrated and we shared more time with others not like us, we would probably have much less of this in our world, of this mess and mayhem. So with that, I want to wish you all power, peace, and strength. Remember, you are the hands of the Lord. You are the ones that take actions. We are all each other's neighbor, no matter what color we are. We are to love one another and look to do the Lord's will. Amen. Thank you for joining us on our message of the day.